My name is Heather Thomas. I'm here today with my son's permission. I'm a lifelong Tennessean, a graduate of the University of Tennessee, a business professional, a wife, a mother, and a Christian. My husband is from Upper East Tennessee, raised a Southern Baptist conservative, and a 22-year retired veteran. The reason I'm here today is that we happen to have a transgender child. Wanting to know all that I could about how to help my child, I've done extensive research over the last 6 years. I'm in multiple support groups and know that this medical condition does not discriminate. It knows no income level, no race, no education, no political affiliation or religion. I have a favor to ask each one of you. As I share our story, would you please listen as if this was your own child? Our child was assigned female at birth. At the age of 2, we noticed that our child started emulating their dad. When old enough to choose clothes, he always chose from the boys section. His friends were boys. He wanted to know why he couldn't go shirtless outside or use the restroom outdoors. He always gravitated towards trucks and superheroes. He played sports on boys' teams. When in public, everyone thought he was a boy. At that time, we didn't know anything about gender dysphoria. He was our tomboy. He was a happy, well-adjusted child with lots of friends through his elementary years. Jump to middle school. He was at the age of puberty, and middle school was very different. Suddenly, the boys weren't interested in having girls as friends. It was clear that he did not fit with the girls either. He was bullied incessantly, physically, sexually, and verbally abused at school every day. He was miserable and would beg to stay home every morning when I drop him off. In 6th grade, he began seeing a therapist. In middle school, he had long bouts of self-harm and attempted suicide on multiple occasions. Every morning, I would pray that when I opened the bedroom door, he would be alive. In high school, he moved to a different, smaller school, but still struggling with panic attacks, depression, and very poor academic performance. At the end of his junior year, he told me that he was trans. No parent, I repeat, no parent would wish this kind of adversity on their children. He had been living through hell on earth for 5 years and just able to figure out why. My husband and I were on completely different pages. My son and my husband were at odds much of the time. It wasn't until his senior year that he and Dad needed to take his car to the shop for repairs, and while there, Dad called our child she. The mechanic immediately looked up in bewilderment. This was an aha moment as my husband realized that the rest of the world saw our child as a boy. One evening, Dad and I were talking, and he just couldn't get past changing pronouns. I expressed to him that to us, pronoun was nothing more than a word. To our child, it was everything. From then on, our son and Dad have been thick as thieves. Although Dad's degree of understanding may not be 100%, Dad saw the difference in our child once he transitioned. It was probably the most important and beautiful affirmation my son could have received. Out of respect for Dad, our son gave him the honor of giving him his new first name. As for treatment, our experience has been that therapy was helpful for processing, but no amount of talk therapy was going to talk him into or out of medical condition. For us, our care team had a cautious, conservative, arduous 7-month process with our team of doctors, primary care, endocrinologists, therapists, psychiatrists, parents, and child. Blood work and a minimum of a year of therapy was required, along with our child being able to understand the risks. Hormone therapy literally saved his life. It did what antidepressants and therapy could not do. Additionally, the only other time my son has had suicidal ideation was when he had to come off of his hormone therapy for a medical procedure. Are there risks? Yes. With every medical procedure and every medication, there are risks. But if faced with the nominal risk of treatment versus keeping your child alive, what would you choose? We don't want anyone to ever go through what our son and family has gone through. Taking away the ability for parents to make medical decisions for their children along with the care team is incomprehensible. Of all of the parents I know, not one has a child who regretted their treatment, and all have seen significant improvement in the child's life. For every person that stands before you today and says they have regret, or every doctor that stands before you today saying this in some way is harming to children, I can bring you 100 that would tell you otherwise. My experience lines up with the 98% satisfaction data for transitioning, and that those same 98% continue treatment for a lifetime. Additionally, I can attest to the fact that the suicidal ideation significantly decreased with medical treatment. In closing, I implore you to leave the ability for families and their expert medical teams to make life-impacting decisions. My brave child is alive today because of the treatment he received. Had we done it earlier, we could have avoided the fear we had every day of whether or not he would survive. My faith teaches us as parents we are to care for our children and their well-being and treat them as God treats us, his children, with love, care, and compassion. I believe that's what my family has done and what Jesus would do. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we move to the testimony in favor,